Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. Today I'm not doing a reading in this video. I do usually share channeled and tarot readings, but today we're doing a talk. Right, we're going to talk about what is it that you do if you cannot afford to pay for spiritual services or therapy. You know that you are suffering in your circumstance. You know that you are going round and round in circles. It has been years. Same things happen over and over, no matter how hard you try to get out of a situation. Month after month, year after year, it's the same things. And you realize that you need help. You're going to have to heal this. But you do not have the financial means to pay for spiritual workshops, spiritual life coaching, readings, energy healing, channel sessions. And perhaps you've been hoping that someone who has the ability or the capacity to do this for you would decide to offer you their time, their energy for free. And maybe you've even grown a little bit resentful because if they were good people, isn't that something they'd want to do? I did that for people for many years whilst I was working a full job because it was the only way I needed to support myself and my children. And I burnt myself out to the point that I developed fibromyalgia. Even though my guides were saying, don't do this, I just couldn't get to the point where I felt comfortable enough to charge because of my programming. And your programming could be the reason why you are experiencing shortage and lack in your relationship with money. So you are where you are and you'd like for things to be different. You'd like to start healing, but you don't have the resources to pay for someone else to support you through or to facilitate your process. What do? I've got a few things, just a few tips for you today, and we'll talk through that. Okay. The first thing I would recommend, I was just thinking about this because I've had a couple of people that would reach out and tell me their story, hoping that if I hear how desperate they are, that perhaps I would help them. I have hundreds of people that are in the same boat. And let's just think about it. If we think of all the human beings in the world, do you think half the world is in poverty, struggling financially, unable to meet their needs? Do you think 70% of the world is in poverty? It's a large amount. Most of us are in that same boat, and it's a lot of our programming that contributes to our shortage consciousness and our relationship with money. So I want to start off by just telling you a little bit about money from an energetic perspective, a spiritual perspective. Money, even though you think it is this currency that is outside of you, that banks have created and controlled, or maybe you think the government's created it, and we're forced to use that to purchase things that we need. Or is this thing that you get when you work so that you can buy the things you need and pay the bills that you need to pay. But it is this external thing. Now we're at a point where it's not actually coins or money that we tangibly have in our hands. It's this thing that we don't even see, that is credit, how we swipe a card and then it just happens to work. So we see it as this condition or this thing, this material thing outside of ourselves that we have no control over, but yet we are so very dependent on. Everything in our universe is a physical manifestation of an energy. Everything is energy. Everything is frequency. And when it vibrates at a particular frequency, it becomes matter. We can taste, touch, and feel it. But did you know that everything is truly energy? And you create everything outside of your body, outside of this vessel, with your energy, including this vessel. So the health and the well-being of your body is created by your energy. That's how much power you have. You, as a human, you think you're just a mind and a body, but you're really a soul having a human experience. You're a mind, body, and soul. Your mind is the processor through which you project into this reality everything that you experience. It's how you process this reality. Your body is that bridge between the spiritual world and this. It's the one that governs, that holds space, that allows you to exist in this 3D realm, that allows the soul that is us, and the soul that is us to exist and experience this 3D reality in a tangible way, because this body is technology that has all of these senses. And the part of you that is soul is God. Okay? You are God experiencing the God force through all of creation. And every other being in creation, every other creation is the God force. We love the creation because of the creator. But if we don't understand who the creator is and what the creator truly is, because we have been taught and led to believe that the creator is something that it is not, that can be a challenging process. It can make things difficult. Nonetheless, I want you to think about this for a moment. For those of you who have not ever considered this, that you are God. You are the God force. And the energy that you hold active in this vessel, in this processor, you project into this world. And everything you experience is a physical manifestation of you. So this brings us back to money. Money is a physical manifestation of your personal currency. It's not really. The illusion in the 3D reality is that it's being governed and controlled by certain people. And in the 3D reality, it is so, because if that is what we believe, it must be so. But is everything we believe the truth? If we think everything that we believe is the truth, then how are we arguing with other people who believe different things? Very, very confident that they do not know the truth. They do not believe the truth. So we've got to be open to the possibility that that not everything we believe is real. I am a channel and a medium. For those of you who are here for the first time, you've not been with me for a while, it's your first time coming across my content, or maybe you've been into some of my readings, you enjoyed receiving a reading, but you don't particularly know how I work. I am a medium, right? Which means I communicate with spirit. I'm a universal channel, which means I channel everything. I can channel the soul essence of everything and anything and all, okay? That is my summary of it. And so I channel when I do my coaching sessions, and I do spiritual channeled healing, and I facilitate healing and guide people through their own spiritual journey. I'm doing that with source. I'm receiving downloads, if you will. It's not really a download, it's a direct channeling that I'm receiving in the moment, where source and all that is source, your guides, your angel guides, your inner being, because it's all connected, none of it is separate. Communicates with me in a number of ways what it is I need to know to support you in your healing. So that is where I get my information from. I've been doing this for many, many years. We have a sacred contract with every relationship in our life. Now, in your 3D perspective, that might sound like, okay, we agreed to do this with another soul. No, you agreed to do that as a soul, right? It's a decision. It's a decision, if you will, being made by me as a soul. When I enter this 3D reality, I manifest everything, all the relationships that's going to help me to honor what I've decided I've come here to honor. I hope that makes sense. So I call it a sacred contract for our 3D understanding. So your sacred contract with money is unique to you. It's not like mine. There can be similarities. We can have overlapping qualities, characteristics. But ultimately, what you experience as money in this world, that is this thing outside of you that you get to use in order to have your needs met and your wants and your desires fulfilled, is not something separate from you. It is only a physical projection of the energy that is your personal currency. So what is your personal currency? Think about what currency is. Currency is a value system that we use to determine, to trade with. So if I decide that this is worth $100, you can tell me this is worth $20 and I can say, okay, give me $5. Do you understand? Or give me 3, or give me 2, or whatever. And then you can say, whatever. So what is your personal currency? How do you negotiate with your energy, with your time, with your personal value, with your body? What value do you place upon you, your relationship with source, your soul, your physical body, your time, your attention? These are all valuable commodities. Do you even think of it that way? What you give airtime to, the things you think about, you're actually investing in. When you consume content, you're making an investment. Why do you think content has become such a popular thing? If there was no profit in it, why would companies be making these platforms where content becomes this thing that we share? You are the content, you are the commodity, and your attention is even more valuable. So when you make decisions in your day-to-day life about what you're going to give energy to, who you're going to give access to you, who you're going to give access to your body, who you're going to give access to you emotionally, what you invest in time, attention, emotions, physically, how much value do you place upon yourself? Your money is going to match that. So it's very important that you understand that when you are at a place where you know you need healing and you want to heal, but you cannot, but you feel you don't have the money in order to pay for the service, to invest in the time, the expertise, and the energy of that person who is able to facilitate you, it does not mean that you need to find a good enough person who is willing to do that for you for free. What it means is it's the universe telling you that a facilitated process where you rely on somebody else to get you out of your rut is not going to serve you. That there is enough evidence over the years where the universe has brought you teachers and experiences and relationships to come and guide you towards finding your own sovereignty, your own personal power, understanding the power you have, building your confidence and your trust in yourself and your own decision making, that you are not that none of that has served you, that you have only continued to add momentum to further reaching for your happiness and what you need outside of yourself, and that is the reason, that is the root cause of your suffering. That it is time to develop the relationship with yourself, your personal currency, and how much accountability you believe you have the capacity to take, and how much responsibility you bear for what your life looks like. That yet another person outside of you coming to save you is not going to take you anywhere, no matter how skilled or experienced that person is. So you see, we always trust the process. If you cannot afford my services or the services or the facilitation of another expert or professional that has the capabilities to guide you through your suffering to well-being, to help you to find your personal power, to activate the healer within yourself, to help you to clear out the negative beliefs or the beliefs that no longer serve, and replace them with an awareness of self and the world around you that actually serves you and contributes to your happiness, that you are in a place where that you will not be able to be receptive of even that, because you need to find yourself. You need to look in the mirror. This is a journey that you need to do with you. This is a journey between you and you. Self and I. Self is your inner being, the part of you that is God. You understand? So, what are my tips for you now that I've explained a little bit of this? And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section. If you have any more questions, I'm happy to clarify that more, to make videos or content that helps to clarify that. But I would like to believe that I have made it very, very clear here that when you're at a place where your relationship with money, the physical manifestation of money is showing you that there is shortage, lack, dis-ease or dysfunction, that your personal currency is, that you're leaking energy and you don't even know that you're giving away power and you don't even know that you're empowering other people in your reality when you're the one that's really in control of recreating your reality, or that you're blaming circumstances or everything outside of you when you're really the one creating your reality. You're missing key wisdom, knowledge, awareness. So when you cannot afford to work with someone, you are being guided to the hermit mode, which is a deep journey with Source, with God. Rediscovering who and what God truly is, and a deep, deep journey inward. Okay? So these are my tips. What is it that you can do for yourself in that period of time? Fast and pray. Fasting. Fasting is age old, and anyone who has ever done it will tell you of the benefits. It is known. You can, of course, do more research based on the points that I'm giving you, but this is just as a guide. Start here. You don't need anybody outside of you. You need to find yourself. And you need to move through the dark night of the soul by allowing old programming and the death of the ego, right? Fasting, how you do it, there are a number of different ways in which you can fast. You can do the dry fasting, and you can do it for a day. You can start with one day, and then you can, so this, if I was in your physical shoes, obviously you can adapt as you go along, but this is what I would recommend, is that if you're leaning towards dry fasting, that you would choose one day a week, whether it's a Monday or Thursday. I think those days are best, just because of the energy around those days, that you would dry fast on that day. And then, so nothing. And fasting is not just about, so no smoking, no eating, ingesting nothing, no substance, but also no gossip, no arguments, fighting with people, no fighting with people in your head. All right? So fasting is not just about food and water, okay? If you find that maybe the idea of not having anything for a day feels too much, maybe just fast with all of those things and only have water. Start with that, okay? So maybe only have liquids, water, not soft drinks, not coffee, water. All right? So these things are not going to be easy to do, but this is how you meet with yourself, and all the things that you have going, your tendencies and your habits to not be committed to yourself and taking care of yourself, to not being willing to sit with your discomforts, to self-abandoning and then hoping that other people show up for you and just rescue you, and suddenly your life will change, and there is no such thing. And so that's why I'm saying, if you can't afford it, the universe is actually protecting you and guiding you, because you'll pay and you won't do the work. I see that with many clients. And you'll feel good for a little while, but you'll keep doing the same old things. It's sort of like washing your feet, but then going and running in the mud again. And then you wonder why your carpets and your bedding and everything is always filthy. It's counterproductive. So you don't have to waste money that you don't have to find out, you know what, actually, I'm the problem. Which is where we all get at some point. We've got to come to the point where we realize, no, I'm the one. So fasting, very, very important. Not only is it healthy for the, very, very good for the body. Sometimes we have bacteria and parasites in the body that contribute to mental challenges. Makes it harder for us to think positive. It affects the chemicals in our body, it affects our hormones, and it affects our brain. All right. Also, when the vessel is not healthy, when the vessel is constantly strained and stressed, obviously it's going to affect your energy. Obviously it's going to affect your nervous system, because you're constantly in a state of trauma, and you just think it's life. Okay. So fasting is great because it's mind, body, and soul. All right. Now you can do the dry fast. What I would suggest if you do is start 1 day a week, right? And then you move it up. So you do 1 day a week for a month, and then you move it up to maybe 2 days. Okay. So, or you can start with just 1 day a week, and you fast for 40 days. Already you're going to see a big difference. Or you can do a Daniel fast, where yes, you have liquids and you have fruits and you have vegetables, but you don't have any junk and you don't have any substance. Or you can do the fast that Muslims do during Ramadan, which is fasting from sunrise to sunset for 30 days. I would recommend that you think about what suits you. Have you ever done a fast before? Another option is you can start with 1 day dry fasting, and then maybe only have soups and water. And then week 2, you do 2 days. Week 3, you do 3 days. Week 4, you do 4 days, and so forth, until you get to 5 days, or until you feel like, okay, I can't do more than that. Then you take a break, and then you start again. Maybe after fasting I would recommend that you don't do it too often. If you're doing a 1 day fast, that's different. But if you're doing it in that way where it's a lot more intensive, that you give yourself a couple of months break and you do it again when you feel you're ready. But you have to become disciplined about these things. Fast and pray. Now your prayer is what I want to talk to you guys about a little bit. Most of us have been taught to pray when we're stressed, when we're worried. Talk to God about your problems. Don't do that. God already knows. Source knows everything. But every subject is two subjects. Whilst you're over here with the problems, there is a reality on the other side of the coin, on the other side of the spectrum, where you are living in the solution. God is over here. God is not going to come to you over here with your problems. So the only thing that you're doing when you're beating the drum of your problems and you're supplicating and you're trying to make yourself small to God and to other people so that someone can rescue and save you and come and fix your problems, because you don't believe that you're capable of doing it on your own, you're only adding momentum to your problems, and they only get bigger. And that's where the saying comes from, it doesn't rain, it pours. Because you'll notice when one thing goes wrong, it's another and another and another, because we're actually adding momentum and we keep attracting it because we keep focusing on it. So a way to pray that actually serves us is appreciation, is to give thanks. Give thanks for the breakthrough that's coming. Give thanks for the lesson. Is to give thanks. Find things to be grateful for, no matter what your circumstance is. And that would be that's point 1, recommendation. All right. Point 2, mindful practice. Now you can get information about mindful practice. You can go to the library and get books. You can go onto YouTube. You can find content creators on TikTok, on Instagram. You can deliberately start looking for that content, so then your feed will keep pushing it out. Mindful practice is when you're mindful about what you're doing. It's very simple and easy to do, because mindful practice is as simple as paying attention to what I can appreciate in this moment by moment, segment by segment. Being mindful is asking yourself all the time, is firstly establishing the belief that Source loves me, the universe loves me, God loves me and has my back. I am not being punished. And this is why I'm saying the relationship with God really needs a deep dive. If you still have a belief system that I made a video on TikTok today, and I'm going to share it here, exactly what I said. If your God can be offended or angered by what you do or don't do, or anybody else, how they dress, how they behave, who they have sex with, all of those things, then it's not God, it's your ego. If your God can be offended or angered, that is not God, that is ego. God is love. Different channels. If you understand how this reality works, it's frequency. When you are over here in fear, this is a different channel. Love is in a different channel altogether. It's sort of like saying fear is north and then love is south. God is nowhere near that. All right? So part of your healing is going to be really, really rediscovering who God is in your life. So mindful practice is, some more tips about mindful practice is taking a walk. And with every step you take, you think about something you're grateful for. All right? Or driving and looking for things that you like and appreciate. When you sit down and have your meal, put your phone down. Don't sit and gossip with your friends, or don't sit and have conversations about the things you don't like. Be with your meal. Think about the food on your plate and the process it's gone to find itself to you, to nourish your body. When you spend time thinking about that, you realize how loved you are and how special you are, and how many factors, cooperating factors or co-creating factors have to come together just for you to have your needs met. Being mindful is taking time, waking up in the morning and focusing on the fact that your heart's beating and what that means for you. The sun came out and what that means for you. It's raining and what that means for you. You understand? That is what mindful practice is about. It's about getting out of your head and just thinking about your problems all the time and tuning into connecting with creation, because God is in everything. And there is goodness in everything, and it's all available to you. But we don't give attention to that. We focus on what we don't like. We focus on what we're dissatisfied with. So being mindful is making a deliberate decision to incorporate appreciation, gratitude, and a higher level of consciousness about the God force in everything that is available to you, and how that in itself is an act of devotion and love to you from God, and vice versa. All right. You can obviously research that more. There are many, many more tips, but those were just a few I want to give you. Number 3, something you can do for yourself if you cannot afford to pay for healing. All right? Read. Get a book. And when you finish that, read every day. Read a little bit every day. And when you finish that book, get your next one. I would recommend that you get some books that teach you about energy and spirituality and healing, but I also recommend that you get some autobiographies from different cultures. Your own, yes, autobiographies from people around you who have had their lived experience, or from your community even, but also include autobiographies from people, not only famous people from different countries and cultures that you've not been exposed to. Storytelling is an ancient form of medicine. This is why we find ourselves gravitating to the people telling their story online. We're so interested in what happened next because it's so nice to have that reflection and that different perspective, and to learn and expand through other people's awareness and experience. So, autobiographies, put that on your list. And then these are just some of my recommendations, but you can obviously go with whatever you like. Autobiographies, that's recommendation number one. Conversations with God, because as I say, your relationship with God is going to the level of consciousness and awareness around who and what God is for you is going to determine how far you get to go here with this, or whether you hit a wall, how many times you hit a wall. You understand? Because source is everything. The biggest part of you, the most important part of you is source, is God, right? So, Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch, that is my recommendation, number one. Number two, Anatomy of the Spirit, Caroline Myss. Very, very good. It'll really help you to understand how the interconnectedness of our dis-ease and our energy and our bodies and our minds and our souls and our lives. Okay, that interconnectedness. Caroline Myss, Anatomy of the Spirit, was one of the first books I picked up when I really decided that I'm going to embrace my spiritual calling. Journey by Brandon Bass, also a good read, something interesting, especially if you're curious about healing. The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. Something that, so much value in that book. It helps you to understand synchronicities, how things really work energetically and spiritually, and what I felt was a highlight. There are a couple of books, so get the first one, obviously, if you've never read James Redfield. What stood out for me, the highlight for me, was Prayer Fields, how the book teaches you about prayer, that prayer is really an energy. It's not just what we say with our mouths. And those are my few recommendations. There are many, many more. And if you want more recommendations because you love reading, there are loads of content creators on YouTube that give book recommendations. All right. So you have access to so much now. You just need to commit to this being your dominant intent, that I am going to show up for me, for my healing. I'm going to support myself to get to a better place. Tip number 5, if you cannot afford to pay for facilitated healing, counseling, coaching, therapy, detox. Well, the fasting will help with that, first and foremost, but I'm specifically talking about content. You detox, and you've got to use your intuition for this. When you watch content that triggers you or makes you feel stressed or is negative and toxic, drama, stop. Start to look for content that actually teaches you something and uplifts you. And the company you keep. If your friends and the company you keep, it's always about superficial things and partying and gossip and substance abuse, and that's how you bond, you need a detox from your friends and your family, if that's what it is. So none of these points are going to work for you. You're not even going to do it if you're not serious about healing. So this video is really for those of you who are serious. Number 6, the recommendation I would make here is journaling. Get yourself a notebook. It doesn't have to be an expensive, fancy book. A pen, and write every day. Set aside a time every day to write how you feel, some things that have happened and how you feel about it, your thoughts. And on a Sunday, you sit down, you allocate a time, you sit down, you light your candle, and you go back and you read. And that is how you are going to meet with yourself, and you highlight feeling words. This is you showing up for yourself, and this is the beginnings of your shadow work, where you're really starting to look in the mirror, but you're not doing it in the moment when things are stressed and your impulses to either judge or resist or avoid or self-abandon kick in. You're doing it from a place of neutrality where you're just acknowledging how you felt this week and how you saw the world this week and how you saw certain people. It's very, very empowering, because now the part of you that will be reading that is the part of you that witnesses you. So which part, who is that? What is that? That is the part of you that is God. You're showing up for yourself in a very profound way when you do that. Tip number 7, tapping and breath work. Tapping, you have to incorporate your body in your healing. It's not just all up here. Tapping is a incredible way for you to help to heal your nervous system, regulate your nervous system, and release trauma and guilt and a lot of the toxic energy that is stagnant in your body. How do you tap? YouTube videos, they're free, and on TikTok. You can type in tapping, you'll come across content creators, you follow along with them. Easy and free. Breathwork, same thing. YouTube, you search breathwork and you'll come across a lot of videos, and eventually you find content creators that you like and you'll just keep reverting to their content. Support their content, please, because this is something we consume, but we don't consider the work that goes into it. And this is also how we create blockage. So make sure that you honor and you support the creators who bring you this information. Subscribe, like, make sure you comment. Okay, these are free ways in which you can support their content. Okay, but if you just take what is given, if you're always just taking and you don't consider what can I give back here that's not going to cost me any money, you will never get out of your financial rut. Because takers, and we don't like to admit that we're takers, we're like the Dead Sea. Everything comes in, nothing goes out, and that's why the sea is dead. Do you understand? So it's an analogy I like to use. Tip number 8 that you can do for yourself is affirmations. Create your own affirmations based on your journal work. Or if you don't know how to create your own affirmations, find affirmations on YouTube. Some creators are so beautiful on here. Someone that I love to listen to. In fact, I listen to him every night, so I'm definitely going to recommend him because his voice is just so healing. And I listen to him when I go to sleep because I milk every opportunity to get into alignment and to elevate my frequency, is Brian Scott. And I'm going to see if I can link his channel somewhere here. If I remember, I forget to do these things, but otherwise, please keep in mind, it's Brian Scott. And you'll notice on his channel, he's got meditations, activations about for financial, to help you to quantum leap into more wealth and to clear out your financial blockages and all. Go and check him out. Incredible. Also other stuff, self-love and that, but yeah, we're talking about money, of course. So if it's around relationships or anything else, you'll find that too. And if you don't resonate with Brian Scott the way that I do, then you can check out other people, because YouTube will start pushing out the content to you. You listen to that during the day. You just go to your video. You can even download it on your phone so that if you're in a place where you don't have content, data or Wi-Fi, you still have it available to you. You put your earphones in when you're feeling stressed at your break time at work, or if you've got 5 minutes to go and sit in the toilet, if you feel like you're going to have a panic attack, or you're really in a bad place, or you're feeling angry and frustrated, put it in and listen. Put it on at night. Affirmations, make use of it. There's a lot of free content. You just need to be deliberately focused and deliberately intentional about supporting yourself in these ways. Tip number 9, challenge yourself to stop doing one thing for at least 40 days. So make a list of everything that you know that you do that is not supporting you in your healing, your habits, your behaviors. Maybe you ruminate about negative things. Maybe you gossip. Maybe you waste money. Maybe you have an addiction. Maybe you write a list and you choose one thing per month. Maybe you start with the thing that seems easiest and you challenge yourself not to do that for 40 days. And if you fall off the bus by week 1, you get onto the bus again after a couple of days and you start again. My dear, I know that many of you would like to have a pill that you take and suddenly you're a different person in a different reality. But you didn't come here for that. You didn't come here to be powerless. You didn't come here to be dependent. You certainly didn't come here to abandon yourself and place your faith and your trust in another person. You came here to experience the fullness of who you are. And you are powerful beyond measure. And that's why accountability and responsibility is so important, because if you cannot show up for yourself, no one else will. Remember, they're all a physical manifestation, a projection of you. Point number 10, and this is my final point in this video. Appreciation. Practice appreciation, morning and night or throughout the day. Find things that you can appreciate. Milk them. Talk about them all the time. When someone comes to you and say, how are you doing today? And you feel like you want to complain about your boyfriend or about your bills or about this that's going wrong, you already have that one thing that you've focused on, that you decided today, I'm appreciating this. And then you can look at them and say, you know what? I have no pain today. My body's healthy. And that's a big thing, because I'm capable of doing so much, and I'm really, really grateful for that. I was able to come to work. I'm able to do that, da, 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 da. Or, you know what, today, I'm able to buy myself lunch, and I'm really excited about that. So I'm having a good day. You know, when you start to speak that, your problems are there. You don't need to talk about them to add more juice to them so they get bigger and bigger. You don't need to do that to yourself, because the goodness available to you, in fact, that person coming to ask you how you are, they can't help you anyway. They're not going to fix your problems. They're not going to. They don't have the capacity. They're too busy focusing on their own stuff anyway. They got their own problems to fix. So do yourself a favor and start to create space for appreciation, especially the things that are uncomfortable, that you don't like. How are you doing today, Elif? Well, you know, today Susan stepped on my toes and she didn't say sorry. But I'm so grateful to Susan, because what she taught me something valuable. Whilst my toes aching, I've got a lot of time to focus on and ponder on how I expect other people to watch out for my toes. Do you get what I'm saying? And now I'm not going to do that anymore. She wasn't looking where she was going. It was not intentional. Also, my tendency to think that everything that other people are doing is deliberate. And today Susan taught me something. And I'm actually going to thank her for that. Not now, my toes still sore and I'm a little bit upset, but I'm grateful for the lesson. I need to start paying attention and taking care of my toes and not expecting everybody else to do that. It's an analogy, but you get what I'm saying? So I hope that this video has helped you guys. And of course, I want to let you know that if you did, you don't have to do all 10 things, but oh my God, if you did all 10 things within a month, you will be a very different person. Within a month, before the month is over, you will have the finances to be able to book for that workshop, that coaching sessions, that healing session that you want to have. I know that because I've seen it with my clients and I've lived the experience, okay? If you do 5 of these things, if you do 3 of them here and then you try 3 of them next month and you try 3 of them. If you use the tips here, and I know there are many, many more things you can do, but if you only incorporate these 10 for yourself, You're going to change your life. Within 6 months, your whole world is going to be very different. Within a month, you'll be in a very different place. So it's entirely up to you. It works if you work it. But it's time for you to show up for yourself, okay? No one is coming to rescue. We are all here to support you in finding yourself and connecting to your own power. Because when you know how to fish and catch your own fish, oh my gosh, it's a good feeling. And I want you to feel good. Where you are right now financially is not a reflection of your worth. It's just a reflection of some dis-ease in your relationship with yourself. And you can change that. All right? Love and light. I hope you enjoyed the talk today, or the information that I shared with you. It's very informal. I like it that way. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section, and I hope that this helps. Please save the video, come back and let me know how it goes if you do decide to make use of any of these tips. Love and light. Okay, you are beautiful. You deserve to be happy, and you are well on your way to more ease and more satisfaction. I know it. That is why you're here. Whatever you do, do what is best for you. Love and light. See you next time. Bye now.